my artistic practice is about, or I think I prefer to say like searching for, sort of points of transition between different worlds. So whether that's synthetic and organic, indoor, outdoor, interior, exterior. And I often use my own body as a starting point to kind of reference the female body as used as a kind of conduit between those worlds. The materials that I use as well are usually either domestic fabrics or earth pigments or industrial materials that when combined create this sort of supernatural environment and reference that point of transition for the human body. So this exhibition is about, or a good starting point for this exhibition, I would like to say, is probably the title, which is Mantle. Mantle refers to like a mollusk body that excretes the shell or creates the shell. So it's this moment where the kind of soft, fleshy body becomes hard or like forms like a hardened exterior. It also has a double meaning for me, as in it's also like mantelpiece, with the fireplace being this kind of point of entry between indoor and outdoor. And in folklore, in like British folklore, there's this kind of belief that demons or fairies or like evil spirits can get in through these kind of points of entry. So having that as a starting point, you'll see a lot in the show of these kind of like animal-human hybrids, sort of enlarged like snails and like super huge worms. I think I wanted to draw out this kind of animals particularly that we might feel like a revulsion towards or are associated with like grime and decay, but nevertheless in science sort of have a really valuable role to play in transforming soil or like transforming the kind of natural environment and making it like the world the place that, you know, humans can survive. Final Girl is, obviously the title refers to like horror and the final girl in horror. I'm a big horror fan. And it was playing with this kind of idea, I think, over lockdown. The snail for me was this sort of creature often thought of like as a pest, but I started to relate to the speed of it, the frustrating slowness of it, and being kind of encased in your own like singular environment over lockdown. So the snail became a bit of a motif for me. There's a pair of like sort of snake legs in the corner, which are a cast of like, again, it's like body cast my legs, but painted to like adders. So I guess with that piece, I was really playing with the kind of uncanniness of the sort of human body and animal body combined, and the sort of almost like boneless movement of a snake, and the relatively like rigid movement of a human body, and how those might move, and you know, in your imagination if combined. I think there's a very tactile nature to my work, and there's kind of some like latent movement within it. I think there always has been. I always like that kind of interaction with the human body, or the idea that it might move or come alive. So for me, the stop motions were basically a way of doing that, but still maintaining this kind of very sculptural materiality. So, you know, the actual making stop motion is like a sculptural process. It's like a kind of repetitive, you're kind of sculpting in slow motion. So for me, that really takes my sculptures onto kind of another level, or kind of going like crossing another boundary, and they actually sort of imbues them in this sort of strange kind of stop-starty life, which I think has been an exciting step in my practice. I would like audiences and visitors to take from the exhibition just a sense of calm, actually. I think I wouldn't necessarily have given that answer or said that before the opening, but I think I had a lot of feedback from the opening of people feeling this kind of sense of like calm and like relaxing, like kind of and sort of a chilled out feeling in the exhibition. And I really like that. I think, you know, I'm a horror fan, and I'm very inspired by horror and elements of horror, and a lot of the work's starting point is monsters, like, you know, nature-human hybrids, as being this kind of monstrous thing, the eco-gothic. But I think what comes out in the work is there's this kind of sense of unity between the audience and the environment, and actually it's not a threatening environment, or it catches you in that in-between world between feeling a sort of sense of disgust because that's what you feel like you ought to feel towards kind of creatures like this or materials that I'm using, but then kind of casting that feeling aside and actually taking from the exhibition what you want, really.